Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Molly.
What a day.
What a day. Matt Lauer in the news today on the Today Show.
It's all, I mean, it isn't all they've been reporting, but every show, at the top of every show, that's what they're talking about. And they're reporting it, I think, very emotionally at this point, you know, because it's a coworker they've had for such a long time. And
one of the things that, you know, as we were reading this morning that you're not hearing is that CNN reported that the New York Times has been investigating this for weeks.
That's right. And speaking of that, Variety's New York bureau chief said on Twitter this morning that he and his colleagues have been doing reporting about, and this is a quote, about serious sexual harassment allegations against Lauer for 2 months.
Right.
And that there are multiple victims. And again, that's a direct quote on Twitter about from Variety. The interesting thing is there's only one formal complaint so far that NBC is reporting, but even NBC is saying they have reason to believe this may not have been an isolated incident. And I just think it's interesting, that whole concept of reporting on your own.
I know. I think that would be difficult but important. And I think that's one of the things, we had that conversation in the office today. How much, you know, do you talk about something that is uncomfortable for people to talk about? I think it's important to talk about it. It's important to let you guys say how you feel about it. We've posted on Facebook. We asked you, how do you feel about the allegations of sexual misconduct against people in positions of power? We want to know how you feel about it. I think it's one of those things that people need to talk about, even though it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, and we had a lot of conversation in our office before we posted that, because our show, we try to keep lighter in nature. We're not a news program, and so we had a lot of conversation about, is this an appropriate question for our show? Should we talk about it or not? There have only been 2 times in my news career where we were in a position to report on someone within our own newsroom who was accused of committing a crime, and one was when I was in Pennsylvania, a reporter who'd been there for decades. And I remember he was accused of sexually molesting a lot of the boys. He was a swimming coach, accused of molesting, and did end up going to jail. But it was so odd for everybody in our newsroom to have to dig in and investigate. And I feel like the Today Show right now is very emotional about their reporting.
Right.
Like, for example, one of the things that we was in the CNN article was that Matt Lauer was informed of the network's decision late Tuesday night before he went to bed. That's not the kind of stuff they're saying. They're reporting it, I feel like, sort of still from that position of he's a friend, and they're reacting with shock to it.
Right, but let's be honest, if these allegations prove to be true, he's been informed about these for way longer than last night.
You have to imagine.
You know, he knows, he was there. He knows what happened.
Yeah.
So,
and he's been in a position to interview all these people recently who are accused of similar things.
Right. And this is one thing I'll say, because I spoke for a Jacob Wetterling Foundation for years and years about this sort of topic, not in the workplace, not about things like that, but as you mentioned with someone, you know, who, you know, targeted younger boys, things like that, is that oftentimes people in a position of power will put themselves in situations. I'm not saying in Matt Lauer's case, that's not a direct correlation. I'm saying like in a swimmer, somebody who works with younger children will do that on purpose, Boy Scouts, you know,
people in youth ministry. There have been reports of that.
Put yourself in a position to be around people, you know, to do that. There was that news story where they interviewed the person who was a sexual offender and said, hey, this is an ugly story, but this is what you need to hear from someone who was offending and how they target victims. Not that that's a correlation. I just wanted to correlate to the swimmer coach.
Yeah,
you know.
Exactly. It's a great note. Just real quick on a lighter note, the guy with the toys, I think, is a fascinating story.
This is super cute. This is actually out of New Jersey, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. There's a man who went to Toys R Us, and he ended up paying $10,000 towards toys that were on layaway so that kids could have a zero balance for the holiday, and parents could. And I thought it was really cool. Not only that, but he took everybody in the store and said they could all choose 3 toys in the store to be donated to Toys for Tots. So he spent an additional $2 grand on that. And I just think in the spirit of the holiday, you know, when things like this are going on, there's so much good that we can do, and there's so much good happening that if we focus on that and be a beacon of it ourselves.
What a wonderful gift, because people do so many charitable things.
Yes.
But what a fun thing to go and go, hey, all your toys.
And that's newsworthy too.
I got the tab on all your toys. And by the way, go pick out something for someone else in need.
And he won't give his full name. He's just Charlie K.
I love it.